Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first video of my brand new YouTube channel. It is so new, brand spanking new, hot off the press, that I haven't even decided on a name yet. I have a few names under consideration, and I might bring that up later in some kind of poll if anyone's interested to help me decide. So this is my very first video, and I'll tell you right now, I'm not working off a script. I've thought about what I would say for quite a while now, but eventually you got to just wing it and go for it. From all the research I've done, your first video is by far your worst. And it's a learning experience. So I'm going to embrace that and go with the flow. And it was more important for me to take action rather than continuously, consider things, mull it over, think it over. I had to do something. So I'm talking to you, I'm speaking to you from the top of a mountain. And I thought, what better place to kick off my new YouTube channel than from the top of a mountain? It's a celebration, okay? And I didn't want to be sitting in a chair in my house with a blank wall behind me or something like that. I thought, wouldn't it be great to speak from, one of the grandest places of Mother Nature that I've got around here, we've got here in Colorado, is the top of a mountain. So I live in Colorado. I'll tell you right now, I live in Boulder, and I'm on Sugarloaf Mountain. And this mountain is fantastic because 90% of it actually is driving. From downtown, 90% of it is a drive up to the trailhead, and then it's about a 20-minute hike straight uphill to the peak here, to the summit. It's kind of a cone-shaped mountain, and the trail kind of goes around it until you reach the top. So this is the hike where I bring people who are from out of town, just to give them a great view of the surroundings, and without too much of a commitment to exertion and hiking, if people are adjusting to the altitude, things like that. So the second reason this is a great hike is because the views are just outstanding. It's a huge payoff. What we've got here is a 360-degree view, east, west, north, south, east, west, and behind me is looking west. You can see the sun getting kind of low. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, late November here. This is Thanksgiving week, and I had to kind of rush up here. And you have to catch the light here because around 3:30, 4 o'clock, the sun is getting lower, the shadows are getting longer, and it cools down really fast. So I've got a window of time here I'm working with. Right now I'm facing east, west. The sun is starting to go down to the west. So I'll give you another view here at some point. So let me talk about the channel and what my plan is here, or whatever plan I've been able to come up with so far. The general topic for my channel is the midlife crisis. I'm 52 years old now, and I've realized only recently that I have been deep in the quagmire of the so-called midlife crisis for a few years now. And I think about it every day, and I confront my issues every day, but it only really occurred to me that I could label it as a kind of midlife crisis. It's very, very consistent with those symptoms and the conditions, the challenges you're facing, the reassessment of your life, reevaluating your life, reevaluating your goals, what you've accomplished, what you regret, what you hope to accomplish. It's a lot to unpack. And there are a lot of videos on YouTube about the midlife crisis. And, so you'll probably scan a lot of those if you're going through this experience. But my angle is that I'm not gonna talk about it from a clinical perspective. I'm not a doctor, I don't have any credentials. I wanna present it as a firsthand experience, what I'm going through, and hopefully the goal is that my experiences and my thoughts will resonate with an audience. I want to be as honest as I can about my life, because frankly, this is all I have, is sharing my personal experiences, my personal challenges in life. And I think a lot of people hide that away. They hide away the personal side, their flaws, their regrets, their failures, and the successes we expect to hear about more, you know? But I am in such a situation, I'm gonna switch hands here. I am in such a situation that confronting this almost publicly is literally all I have left. And I hope to be as honest as possible. There are a few topics that I'm going to address, and I haven't quite planned out the videos just yet. If I get any feedback, I mean, I don't expect anybody to watch this video, but if I get any feedback, you can help me decide, what do you want to hear about? And I've made some notes, which I'll go over here in just a second. But again, I want to give an audience a firsthand emotional experience of what a midlife crisis is, and how you just kind of enter into this phase. It's a long-term thing. It doesn't have a distinct start and stop, you know, beginning and ending. It's a more of an experience, more like a wave, you know. You gradually enter it, you have a realization, or maybe it's a mountain, you know, you kind of, or you descend into it gradually, and then you have a realization that you're deep within the experience, and then how do you navigate your way out? And when I say navigating out, it's into a new phase of life where you're at peace, and you have renewed focus, renewed priorities, renewed perspectives. You embrace your age, you embrace your wisdom, you let go of the past, your failures, and all the things that you have been clinging to, perhaps. And I'm going to address a few topics here that I plan to go into more detail in future videos. And so some of the issues, I want to stay kind of facing the sun here so you can see get good light here. But I'll just kind of summarize some of the challenges I've been facing in my life. And some of them have been going on for 10, 15 years, even my whole life. So, but when you enter the midlife stage, you know, you take on a new perspective. And sometimes some of these challenges take on a new urgency, or they become more critical to resolving, and resolving by letting go, or understanding, or learning, or accepting. So, you know, one of those is obviously, you know, your purpose in life. I don't want to be cliche here, but these things really are true. Your purpose. What are you here to do? What drives you? What motivates you? What gets you up in the morning? What gets you out of bed in the morning and fires you up, if anything? Another thing I want to mention again about how my perspective on the midlife crisis will differ from other channels is that what I've viewed from other videos on this topic is, you know, they present this character, you know, the typical middle-aged man. You have had a career, you have a family, you've sacrificed your interests, goals, and some of your personal goals to raise a family. You have had a career, you've dedicated your life to an employer, to a company, you've been loyal, you've slaved away. Finally, you get to an age where you say, hey, what do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish personally for myself? Well, actually, that's not me. And that's another way I think my channel will be different. I have not had a very dedicated career. I've jumped around a lot. And perhaps you could say I've been dealing with purpose and goals and accomplishments, and neurotically, you know, kind of wrestling with a purpose in life for years. And this just goes back to the fact that I want to give you a personal account. I'm not a perfect person, and I've led a somewhat unconventional life. And I don't fit into that typical mold that I have observed so much in so many videos on the midlife crisis in YouTube. So that's I just want to address that. So you know, what are your goals in life, and what have you accomplished, and what do you hope to accomplish, and why are you here? You know, you know, we're all facing mortality at some point, and so these questions become critical. I think this sort of classic phase of my midlife crisis began a few years ago. My father passed away in 2021, and I think that was really the triggering event for me. I was in my late 40s. It was a shocking experience, unexpected. I don't want to say traumatizing, but somewhat traumatizing. It was a new experience. I've never experienced someone firsthand passing away in my arms like that. And boy, if anything is going to change you in life, it's when people start disappearing, and family members, and especially your parents, when people start passing away. That's when shit gets real, and you are done with the small talk, so to speak, and the trivial aspects of life. You know, what other people think of you and things like that. Again, I'm really just speaking off the cuff here, so I'm undoubtedly leaving out, you know, comments and ideas, and I'm trying to be as articulate as possible. My father passed away in September 1st or August 31st, kind of in the middle of the night of 2021. I was the last person to be with him. And that's a topic I'm going to make a video about because it was so profound for me. I think about it every day. My father and I had a very complicated relationship, a very strained relationship, and that's why there is a lot of baggage involved in that experience. And we had a lot of difficulties relating to each other, and it's something I've carried with me my whole life. And some of my friends know about it. Most do not. Most, you know, people, the thing is, people don't really want to hear about it. People don't really care so much. And, you know, it's understandable. You're most affected by the deaths and life experience of people closest to you in your own family. When it happens to other people, you know, it's unfortunate, but it doesn't resonate as emotionally. So people don't really want to hear the details about it. I've really never had a chance to speak about it, to be perfectly honest. I've never had a chance to share it with anyone. I only have a few friends, and people don't really ask questions. They don't really show any curiosity. So I've never had a chance to really go into detail about it. But I feel like it's a topic that people can absolutely relate to because it gets real, and everybody goes through this. You know, I mean, that's one thing about it is that everybody goes through this in life. It is a very common experience when your parents start passing away, but it was shocking and deep and profound, and there were certain metaphors involved, really, which I'll get into if I go into detail about that experience. I'm not a religious person, but my father was. Turning 50, you know, you hit the fifth floor, and things start to change. You know, people start to see you differently. You start to somehow get nudged into this older generation. You know, I'm an athletic guy. I don't feel much different than I did when I was 49, but somehow you start to be kind of tugged into an older demographic. I've got gray hair. Can you see it right now? But I had gray hair when it's freezing up here. Hold on, let me get this thing back on. I had gray hair in my 40s, you know? So nothing terribly new about that, but somehow, I don't know, people that don't even know my age, you somehow find it harder to relate to younger people, and you start to feel a little bit overlooked and a little bit invisible, and it's harder to connect with people. It's harder to make friends. It's another issue. These are all big issues for me, okay? I lost my son years ago. Now, he's alive and well. But when I say I lost him, I lost custody of him. I went through a divorce, an international divorce, and I'm basically what is called a long-distance parent since 2008. Long distance parent is where, one parent has the custody of the child and the other parent lives far away. And you try to do your best job as a parent from a distance. That could be a few states away. That could be a few countries away. In my case, it was quite an extreme end of the spectrum. My ex-wife was from Germany. We lived in London for a few years, and when we divorced, my ex-wife took our son back to Germany. So that's primarily where he has grown up. In Europe, the default judgment is given to the mother. There's really nothing you can do about it. There's no case you can make, unless she is an acute danger to the child. The mother gets the child, and that was it. She had the resources and the leverage, and so I moved back to the United States and my son moved to Germany, and that is a whole can of worms that has affected my life and really been one of the guiding forces in my life since 2008. My son is now 18, and we're as close as we possibly can be given the distance. It's an 8-hour time difference from Colorado. It's a 10-hour flight from Denver to Frankfurt. It's a whole language and a whole culture of differences. There's a community of long-distance parents. It's a bunch of disembodied zombies scattered around the world dealing with the fallout of an international divorce. And it's again something that I've had to confront and deal with my for the last 18 years that very few people can relate to. Some, in the past when my son was younger, people were sympathetic, friends, they'd hear about it. People ask about my son, but there's an intense, deep, personal and emotional experience you're going through. It's very personal, and people can't quite connect with that level of pain and challenge. My life has really revolved around maintaining a relationship as strong as possible with my son. Every vacation he's had in school, we have had visits. I'll go into more detail on that in a video, but that's something that continues to eat away at me to this day. My son and I actually just got back from a 2-month trip to Thailand in September. And so that's, I want to give that as an example of the way that we are connected and we do spend time together. But there's a lot of time in between where we're not together, and I've missed so much of his life. And now he's an adult, basically. And so it's something I have to deal with every day still. It hasn't really gotten much easier over the years. It's only changed. But one of my strategies with that is that, since we have so little time together, I try to make our visits as impactful as possible. And I try to give him new experiences. I mean, there's nothing more rewarding than watching your child experience something new for the first time and see something new in the world for the first time. You're literally watching their world open up and broaden in real time. And it's one of the most rewarding things you can see in life. And, I could just talk all day about this. A lot of people my age don't have kids. People can't always relate to that. But if you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. Another issue is losing friends over the last few years. Again, I want to be honest with you in this channel, and I've lost friends over the last few years, sometimes in very inexplicable ways. People just drift apart. And I've developed a somewhat negative attitude about what it's like to maintain friendships in midlife. I have to be careful in this video to not rant too much. I don't want to complain and rant, but I think part of that is just, sharing grievances about the struggles of maintaining relationships, maintaining friendships. Part of that has to do with my character. I'm an emotional person. I like to connect with people deeply, and when I know a friend has my back and they make effort and it's a two-way open channel, I'll do anything for my friends. And so, running up against roadblocks with that has been a real challenge for me because I've lost friends, and sometimes I'm not even sure why. I just think people don't care, people drift apart. It's a challenge when you reach this stage in life. Another topic I will talk about, is moving around. I live in a town that is got a lot of people exercising, a lot of sports, a lot of activities, adventurous people who are busy and active lifestyles. And also that means that people can be transient. People come and go. And, I know some people around here keep friends for decades and they haven't had this problem, but I've seen friends come and go. And so one of the angles to that is the fact that I've moved around a bit. I'm backtracking here with some of the topics, but I moved to Nashville in 2019. That was an experiment. I was so restless and frustrated with life at the time here that I simply had to take action. And my cousin lives in Nashville, and I went there to kind of start over, and the wind has died down. So to have new experiences, new opportunities, I wanted to invest in some real estate. That was a good market at the time, although I was a little bit late in 2019, although it's still possible, but a little bit after the real investment period in the early 2000s. And but my cousin lives there. I had to have a change and see new places and experience new things, and I was going to try to invest in some real estate. So those are three reasons. I had no particular interest in Nashville. The South is really not for me. But that's another big can of worms that I can talk about, what that experience was like. Unfortunately, I had some challenges, some successes and some challenges. And some of the relationships that I made and some struggles that came through those relationships are part of the, issue about making friends and maintaining friendships and relationships. And so in midlife, some of these things weigh on you a lot more heavily, and you can't really explain other people's behavior. And just, I'm struggling now to kind of articulate this, but I've moved around. And so I spent 2 years in Nashville, and that was during the pandemic. And I realized the South was not for me, and so I moved back to Boulder. If I didn't mention that, I live in Boulder. And so resettling here was bittersweet because I'm very fortunate to live in Boulder, and I'm very fortunate to have a house here. And that was one of the few very fortunate decisions I've made in life, was buying a house here when I could years ago. And it's my sanctuary. I mean, it's my little castle. And because of my personality, it gives me a sense of security that I really need when I have emotional challenges and things like that. The house is my sanctuary. And, there's one angle that you can address in on the topic of self-development where, comfort is the enemy. When you're too comfortable, you don't accomplish as much. You're not challenged as much. My mouth is like freezing up. That's true, but I can offer alternative perspectives on that as well. So moving around, where do you live? Where are you settled? When you move around, you either physically or even emotionally, because psychologically, my mind is in different places. You have to commit yourself to your community. You have to make roots and invest yourself in connecting with people and having commitments. And if you don't, you are going to kind of still feel isolated in a way. So that's a topic. Some of the relationships I had some very bad relationships with a builder, a real estate agent in Nashville, a property manager. I mean, it hit the fan, and I was dumbfounded trying to understand how, I'm either unlucky or just really bad at these things. But managing relationships, professional and personal relationships at this age can be a challenge. You know, I've changed careers quite a few times. That's another topic that I could go into great deal on about. I don't want to make this video too long, but changing careers. I've had several careers. Things have burned out. I've always restarted things, started fresh, reinvented myself. I enjoy doing that. I have a wide variety of interests. I have many interests, topics, things that I could have done, could have, should have, would have, things that I have done, but then just never really went anywhere, you know? And how do I explain that? So those are some of the topics that I've had to deal with being 52 now and trying to rationalize everything, understand everything, accept where I'm at, you know, let the past go and try to reinvent myself and find focus and purpose and ultimately, you know, peace, love, and happiness, you know, in the years ahead. I also travel a lot. I'm an avid traveler. And actually making travel videos has been a topic I have dabbled in. I've considered it a lot. I've been to so many places in the last 5 years, but I've never really enjoyed the idea of making videos all the time, like recording everything, you know, okay, I'm getting on the train now, and now I'm eating, you know, this soup, and wow, you know, here's the top 10 things to do in Mexico City. I don't want to be another tour guide. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, on all these trips. So since 2021, I've been to Peru 6 times. Just this year alone, 2024, I've been to Mexico, Oaxaca, Mexico, Ecuador, and I just spent 2 months in Thailand. So I travel a lot. And I travel because it's the only thing that really excites me. I mean, I feel alive when I travel. I could get into all that, all the ideas around that, and I probably will. But I'm going to start trying a little harder to make travel videos on my next trips. I have just simply not embraced or been inspired enough to make videos. I don't really like holding a camera up, filming everything and filming myself and, you know, have people staring at me. I'm an introvert, so, you know, recording everything, it's kind of a cliche with vloggers and YouTubers everywhere, especially in restaurants and things like that. I do like food photography. I got really into food photography, photographing the cuisine in Peru and Ecuador and Thailand, and I can share some of that. I'll share some of my social media accounts in the description. So a lot of topics to consider. And as I move forward with this channel, it may not have focus. I want to present my life and maybe this will resonate with an audience, but being personal and sharing my experiences with you it's kind of all I have at this point. And people my age starting YouTube channels, it is a niche. It is a bit of a movement. There's a demographic here. It's never too late to start over. So I'm going to try to wrap up this video right now. And I'm going to shoot some, let's see if, so I'm going to walk over to a little further west to the end of this summit here. There's a spot where people have, ooh, it's really windy now. Now I'm not hidden behind some trees here, so. There are some rocks that are arranged in like a bench kind of formation where you can really sit here and enjoy the sunset as the sun goes down. But I'm going to go into shadow, but let me see if I can just spin around here. So that's looking west behind me, and now I'm coming around again. So I'm in the top of Sugarloaf, and hey, what better place than the top of a freezing mountain to welcome you to my new YouTube channel. And I hope you'll consider subscribing. Stay tuned. I'm going to try to put up a video once a week if I can reach that schedule. And I hope you'll join me on this journey. I hope my thoughts, feelings, ideas, and commentary resonates with you if you're in this stage in life. And I hope you'll stick with me and enjoy some of my videos. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and peace out, and I'll see you at the next video.